Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Debra Eckerling, author, goal strategist, book proposal specialist. You can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people. So every week I bring together some of my people to dive into the topic. And we've got, well, I always say this, but I always mean it. We've got such a great show today. We're talking about mindset. And I figured what's more fun? Well, first of all, what's more fun than chatting? But what's more fun than having a conversation with three people that approach mindset from three completely different realms? As I said before, I'm Debra Eckerling, author of Your Goal Guide and 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting. And you can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people. And every week I bring together some of my people, and unless it's on purpose, they don't know each other. And this is one of those cases where they do not know each other. So I especially love this. We've got today Kristen Coffield, who is the founder of the Culinary Cure and Active Grandparenting, and my co-author of Active Grandparenting, which is coming out this fall. And she is all about the mindset of living and aging well. So perfect for the conversation. We have Brenda Knight, who's my publisher of 52 Secrets. I feel like we need to do a book together, Linda. Do you just feel like left out? I'm so sorry. So Brenda, my publisher of 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting, and of course, your Goal Guide, who has her own book, Badass Gratitude, coming out tomorrow. So the mindset of gratitude, especially in these really kooky times, I mean, we need it, right? And then there's money, which is where Linda Grizely comes in. And we just met a couple weeks ago at one of those awesome networking things where they put people together. And we were put together, and I'm like, oh, that's great. We need to get you on GoalChat. So I'm thrilled for this Power Women panel. It is still Women's History Month. And I would love for them all to introduce themselves a little bit better, because right now you know a little bit about them and that they're awesome, but I feel like more detail is in order. So Kristen, let's start with you. Who are you, and what is it about this topic that you're like, yes, Deb, of course I'll come play?
Yeah. I'm Kristen Coffield. I'm the founder of the Culinary Cure and Active Grandparenting. I'm the author of How Healthy People Eat and the author of Active Grandparenting, which is coming out this fall. And I've been a women's wellness coach for decades. And before that, I was a chef. So my angle on mindset and wellness is culinary wellness. So you are your habits. Your habits are 43% of what you do every single day. Most of your habits are mindless. You don't think, you just do. And so when we want to talk a little bit about mindset and how we can use that to live more intentionally, I always start with our habits that are mindless, and I like to flip as many of those as I can to mindful so we can accomplish more things.
Because isn't that what living and aging well is about? Just doing more, being more, and feeling more.
Hey, we got this far and we learned a lot on the journey. So it's really time to kind of apply what we know and make the most of the time we've got. And that really starts first thing in the morning. So
Amazing. Well, I'm excited to, well, not to learn more because I know the things, but I'm excited for you to share more. Well, that's what happens when you write a book with someone. So there you go. Linda, welcome. Happy to have you here.
Thanks so much for having me, Deb. I am a personal finance coach, financial wellness speaker. I help people build confidence and clarity with money. And the main thing is that people don't really struggle with money because of the math or the strategy. It's really they struggle because it's tied to their life and their experiences, habits, and the things that they juggle day to day. So I teach individuals and organizations how to replace financial overwhelm with confidence and real world results. And let me tell you, mindset is a huge part of that. So everything that I do is about money meets life, because I believe that everybody deserves to feel confident with money and good about how they spend it.
And I feel like that's like for so many people, it's just, is there a better way to explain it than it's a sore spot? It's something that everybody needs more of in, oh my goodness, it's like when you've got the scarcity mentality, you keep the scarcity, but you need the abundance mentality, but you need to have the abundance to have the abundance mentality. Am I close?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's like the biggest catch-22 on the planet is money mindset.
Yeah, there's a big cycle there. And I think that part of what people miss is that there's so much emotion tied to money. And they think of money as just a thing. And really it's not just a thing, because it's something that we're always dealing with in our minds and in our heads, and we're spending it while we're sleeping because we're powering our phones, we're heating our homes. I mean, money is constantly with us, and it's a part of everything that we do, whether we realize it or not. And that emotion that's tied to it is something that I help people get attached to and understand more, so that they can change that mindset and stop being in that cycle of scarcity and abundance, and they feed off of each other.
Amazing. Well, I'm excited to learn more. Thank you for being here. Let's get Brenda in here.
Okay. Well, my name is Brenda Knight. I'm thrilled to be part of this Power Women panel. Exactly what it is. I'm a book publisher. I'm also a writer. I started out at HarperCollins, and all these years later, I co-founded my own publishing house, and I love it. And mindset is definitely a thing I think about every day. I've been fascinated by the fact that habits came up in like with with everyone here, because I think habits are very important. In fact, The Power of Habit, like Duhigg's book, was one of the only ones that I've read twice in a row. I got it as an airplane read. It was exactly a California to New York 5.5 hour. And then I read it on the way back home, and it actually helped me change some habits for the better. And so for me, mindset is about busyness level. I think now everyone we know, everyone here is wildly busy. You can't do it all. So what do you do? What do you do about that? So like mental organization, I think, is the mindset for me, and reprioritizing and recalibrating like throughout your day. Like the most important thing to do this afternoon probably changed from what it was this morning. And so for me, it's just about keeping the priorities like well organized, but also list making. I would say that people often comment, like, especially if they're here in my home office or in like, offices where I'd work, they were like, Brenda, you're really into list making, aren't you? And I said, yes. Like it gets it out of my head and onto paper. Plus checking things off, there really is that endorphin kick. It's real. But I'd say getting it out of my head where I'm worrying about it and onto paper where I can manage it and be organized around it is like a de-stressor, and it keeps me and it's part of my mindset. It's truly part of my mindset. It's like the power woman organized approach to a good life.
And on top of that, you, under a name that is not you, are the author of Badass Gratitude, which comes out tomorrow. Or if you're listening to this as the podcast, it came out on Tuesday. So what is Badass Gratitude? Because I know we're going to talk about that as well.
Absolutely. I talk a lot about mindset, actually. There's like whole little sidebars in almost every chapter about like mindset and Badass Gratitude. It's the follow-up to Badass Affirmations, which sold over 500,000 copies. I still can't even believe that happened. I am very grateful for it. But for me, badass gratitude is being grateful for what you have and who you are, and sort of and deleting the negativity out of your life. I mean, like, I turned on the news for 4 minutes. That's all I could take this morning. Because it was just like a barrage of negativity coming at me. And I was like, I can't really do anything about any of that. What I can manage is my life. So it's really it's a formula for like making your life even more positive, and having an attitude of gratitude is a huge part of that. I would say, and we hear this from writers all the time. I think I've never said it before, so here it is live. It's the best book I've ever written, because I share so much of who I am, and like stories from the past, and like how I evolved. So, to this point. So I'm basically just sort of any little tips I can help people on their personal journey to happiness and satisfaction, and just having the life we all deserve.
Well, I am all about creating the life you deserve and desire, right? It's all about, and how do you get that? You set goals, but you also need to believe that the things that you're putting in motion can happen, or else why are you doing it? Which is why mindset, it's the whole, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you were right, way of looking at the world. So, and you've all touched on this, but I feel like we need a firm definition of mindset. So, Brenda, what is your definition of mindset?
Mindset to me is that you have an orientation. You have like how your brain is aimed, like what your goals are, what you're going for, and how you're going to get there. And it also includes something I talk about in both badass affirmations and badass gratitude, and that is that you have radical self-belief. There's no doubt. You do not doubt yourself. That's part of your mindset. If I can share a little personal anecdote that you're a part of, Deb, from today, we have a thing called I volunteer, as does Deb, for the Women's National Book Association San Francisco chapter. We put on this awesome thing called Pitchorama, which is the last Saturday of April. And our Zoom tech like suddenly dropped out because of family health issues, which is understandable. But I didn't freak out. I didn't, and like I think even like maybe 2 years ago, I probably would have like maybe even wanted to cry, because it's a big problem.
It's a big problem.
We are so going to solve this. Like, I completely believe it's going to be solved, and it seems like Deb probably already has the solution.
Yeah, I remembered somebody I know who does event tech, and we're meeting with her tomorrow.
Yes. But like I've gotten there. Like, that's we're not born that way. We're not that way in like the 10th grade or something like that. Like, you have to get there. But it's sort of being consistent. It's being consistent in your self-belief and matching your goals and striving to do your best. That creates like a really solid mindset where you can just make it happen.
I remember seeing the email today, and I'm like, why are we getting these emails? Why did this person cancel our tech rehearsal on Friday? And then I read it, and I'm like, okay, fine. Mental Rolodex. Oh, yeah, this woman who I met like 4 years ago, inadvertently, maybe she can help. So you don't know, but if you go into every problem knowing you can solve it is a huge part of mindset. Kristen, what is your definition of mindset?
So, from practicing on myself quite a bit, I found that for me, mindset is really my ability to go from sort of that unconscious part of my mind where my self-doubt and my inner critic lives into a more intentional place where, like, where I am focusing on the gratitude and things that that help me feel like I am moving forward in the world. I think sometimes, the whole thing about the news, I actually removed the news app from my phone because I found that I would check it and then I would just doom scroll. And stuff like that is so unproductive, whether it's social media or looking at the news app. So for me, mindset is really an intentional practice. And I start first thing in the morning. So when I wake up, the first thing I do is flip the switch from that subconscious, unconscious mind into positive thoughts that make me feel good, because our thoughts are tied to chemical reactions in our bodies. And so if we want to have a better day, it starts with starting our day with positivity. And, and we all know this. This has happened to everybody. You don't hear your alarm go off. You're running late. You hop in the shower. The shampoo lands on your foot and it hurts. And then you go and you're rushing and you get like coffee on your shirt or something. And then you get in your car and you're like, oh my gosh, every red light or that pokey driver is in front of you. And in many ways, it was almost a self-fulfilling prophecy, because the way we started the day was the way the day started to unravel. So when we know that mindset is something we can control and it's wrapped into our habits, and when we look at the habits for how we start the day and end the day, those are powerful tools for reinforcing a positive mindset, so we have more of the good stuff.
Yes, it's the vibration you put out into the universe, and then the universe might still throw you curveballs, but when you start with that positivity, you can handle the curveballs a lot better.
Yeah, so true.
Linda, what do you think?
Yeah,
What
so
do you think?
I want to add to what both of them said. So we talked about future goals and having mindset to move forward and achieve goals. And Kristen talked about intentional and conscious reset of our mindset. And those are fantastic. And so I want to add to that and say that your mindset is the collective of your beliefs and attitudes that you have subconsciously too. And that's where you have to take those and build them, right? They don't happen naturally necessarily, because everything that you're carrying with you, those beliefs and attitudes and thoughts, they're going to shape how you interpret situations and make decisions and behave, right? So it's like Kristen was just saying, if you have one of those mornings where everything goes wrong, how are you taking that? How are you interpreting that? Are you interpreting like this is just going to be a doomsday day from the beginning, or are you going to say, wow, that was an interesting start to my day. Let's see how we can make it better. And having that underlying belief there, so that it's much easier to transform into that conscious decision, because it's already part of who you are. And that takes practice to build. It doesn't happen naturally.
Oh, I love what you just said, because everything in life is a practice, right? So our thoughts, we're practicing, what we think over and over, becomes our reality. Our eating is a practice. Our sleep is a practice. Our stress is a practice. Exercise is a practice. Mindfulness is a practice. How we handle money is a practice. Somebody once said to me, handle your money with love. Put all your bills in your wallet so they're all nice and even and facing the same direction. So I love the thought of everything's a practice. And if it's a practice, that means you can improve on it.
Very, very well. Yes-anded, my friend. And all the other thing, which I said at the top, is you all look at mindset from 3 different areas. They're all intertwined. It's all the same theme song of, go. And not every day is going to be sunshiny. And some days you're going to have really terrible things happen. So you kind of have to, go with it and then be able to come out of it. But I'd say most of the time, if we can tune that dial a little bit on and I'm eternal optimist, so which way the dial usually forms in my life as well. If you can tune the dial so you are on that even positive playing field, you're going to get what you put out in the world. You put abundance into the world, that's what you get back. You put scarcity, the same thing. And before we get onto the next thread I'm going to pull at, I want to say hi to Mary Gay and Meryl and Leanne and Coach Carrie and Grizely. And if I missed anybody, I will say hi to you later. But we're thrilled that you turned in live. I'm live every Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And you can also subscribe to GoalChat at your favorite place to get your podcasts. And we are on the Marketing Podcast Network. That being said, digression aside, you all approach mindset from a different area. And I'd love to know how you settled on this as your area of expertise as well. And I want to start with Linda, because you're a financial planner and a financial wellness speaker. And that's just a combination you think you would see more of, but you do not.
This is true. So I made the transition. So I actually left financial planning to be a financial coach because I wanted to serve mainly women, but people that were underserved by traditional financial advisors that maybe didn't have enough assets or didn't have the money to pay for a fee for a financial planner. I'm a financial planner again now, but I'm also doing my coaching and my speaking. But the biggest thing I think that I offer is bringing the money and the mind together instead of just giving strategies and saying like, here's the money and here's the plan, or here's the budget, here's what you need to do. I'm saying this is what I would tell you to do, but I'm going to understand who you are and know if it's not going to work for you. So for instance, when I was a newer advisor, I with another advisor. And we had this whole meeting with the client, and then the client left, and the advisor said to me, she's never going to do what I just told her to do. And I was like, wait, what? I'm like, oh my gosh, like we got to bring her back in. We got to talk to her. And they're like, no, this, I go through this every year. She's not going to do it. And I was just mind blown that they were just going to be like, I did my work. This is what she needs to do. And she's not going to do it. And that I think was a big part of like me, like going, wow, there's so much more to this. Like people need help and you're not helping them if you're just giving them the numbers and you're not helping them understand who they are and how they're going to interact with it, or making a plan that will work for them, that they'll be able to follow based on their personality. So that's part of why I do what I do. Just a small part of it. There's a lot more.
But mindset, so with goals, it's all about setting yourself up for success. And that's what you're saying, is you're giving people the tools they need to set themselves up for success. We're not just saying, do the thing. We're saying, this is how to do the thing so they can embrace it and take your advice in the spirit of which it's intended, which is to make their lives better.
Exactly. Yeah. I got into the financial services world because I wanted to help people. And if I'm just telling them what to do and I'm not helping them actually do it, or actually be able to do it, then I'm not helping them.
Exactly. Okay, so Brenda, we heard your publishing background, and yes, I've known you for a while, so I know I'm always curious if I'm going to get a new story. No pressure, but why gratitude? Where did that subspecialty for you as an author come from?
I think it actually came from my childhood, and I write about that in Badass Gratitude, that my mother was she was a child during the Depression, and so my great aunts, which were like her aunts, were around us a lot, and like we came from modest means, and I grew up on a farm, but I didn't know that I didn't know. I just was like,
this is normal. My normal is everybody's normal. But I realized that like those aunts that had like, were adults during the Depression, like they were taught me, like gardening and knitting and all kinds of like simple things. One who was like an adventurer, like she taught me, like, if you get lost in the woods, like these are the plants that are safe to eat. So like my husband and I will be driving along and I'll say, oh, there's wild carrots, like that beautiful blooming plant that you can see. Like if we were lost, like we could eat that and like we would be fine. But anyway, though, and so I grew up with like, with like people like teaching me like how to be thrifty and how to get by in the world, like on very little, but like the commonality was that we were grateful for what we had and we didn't even have a sense of lacking. And so I think that instilled in me like, like a gratefulness for like, I feel like, most of us like, live with abundance. Like we can go to Starbucks and like have somebody make a delicious latte for us, or in my case it's Pete's Coffee because their lattes are the strongest. But like, we like things are, I know things are hard, especially with gas prices going up to like in my area like $6 a gallon now. But the basics are easy for us. We can just go buy freshly baked bread. We can like, everything, we're surrounded by abundance. And so like we should all be very grateful for like how many blessings we have. Like, and I think I do intention setting in the morning too. I was so happy to hear that that's how you start your day, because it's got to be one of the best ways to start the day, of any of the ways to start the day. But I do count my blessings too. And there are many. And of course we could like look at like how tough things are and all that. There's plenty to be worried about and sad about. But if you just do that little shift, which is a mindset shift, and I call it like the gratitude shift, and then you basically you're completely reoriented. You've gone from like oh no, things are bad, I'm stressing out, to like, actually I have so many things to be grateful for. And it literally in the book I quote a doctor who did a whole research project about it, and it actually reduces the cortisone. So it actually, being gratitude can make you live longer and be healthier, not just in your mind but also your body too.
I completely agree. I'm going to laugh because all I could think of was I was so grateful I had time to do laundry last weekend, which you don't think is something you'd be grateful for, but I've been pretty busy and my clothes and my body are so happy that I actually had I like got up Saturday morning and I'm like, I'm exhausted, but I'm going to be so much happier if I get up and do laundry. And I did. And it's simple. And probably something some people take for granted, but it made me so happy. Okay, digression over. Kristen, how does mindset factor into your specialty?
Yeah. Well, I think we are all speaking a lot of the same language here about how we use these sort of same skill sets around mindset for different places that people need help in their lives. And I think I want to just kind of say something that goes unsaid a lot, but for a lot of us, mindset was cultivated when we were kids. So I grew up with a mom who was a single lady. It was not a popular thing back in the 60s. She's very pretty. She's a single lady. And she was a catastrophizer. So part of her mindset was always trying to keep her girls safe, but there was a lot of catastrophizing. And so for me, and being a culinary wellness coach, a lot of what I practice is because it's so important to me to dial down that stress, which is related to inflammation because all your thoughts and feelings create chemical pathways and neural pathways in your brain. So when you keep thinking those, like my mom, all those catastrophizing thoughts, you think those over and over, and you get these deep grooves that are hard to get out of in your thought patterns. So when it comes to wellness, so much of wellness is tied into the habits that people got as children, right? Because when you're a child, you can only relate to food the way it's basically served to you. And the same is true for money. If you grew up in a household where you had a parent who taught you about money and taught you not to be afraid of money, well, food is very similar. So a lot of people, their mindset around food is something they learned as kids, and now they're adults, and their habits, the 43% of what they do every day, the part that's around food may not be supporting their goals. So me, personally, I help people kind of unwind the mystique around food, right? It's just food. It's just money, right? And so when you stop thinking about food as love and a reward, and something you're going to do to elevate your mood in the short term, and you start thinking of food as a tool for living a better life, and before you even put it in your mouth, you're like, what do I want from this? Do I want better sleep? Do I want more energy? Do I want, more muscle? Do I want to age better? So I use mindset to shift people's habits, their thought patterns, and their 43% of habits that relate to food into something that feels better. It feels more comfortable. It doesn't feel so scary or so out of control.
Yeah. Can I add a yes and?
Oh, please do.
Okay. I just want to say that there's a common thread between all three of us. We're talking about the same thing and our different things. So, we said lacking versus grateful and scarcity versus abundance. And Kristen, I'm not sure what your exact words were, but they're all kind of the same. And I know, Kristen, you said tool for life. What do I want to do with this? Money is a tool for life. Gratitude is a tool for life. Food is a tool for life. Like, all of these things are really, the concepts around them are very much the same. Yeah. When we look at mindset.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is, as you're talking, sometimes my panels evolve in really interesting ways. So Linda, you and I met at a networking event a couple months ago, and I'm like, I've been meaning to do something on money. Let's get you on the books. And then I put someone else in the conversation. And then I was chatting with Brenda, and she's got this book coming out tomorrow. And I'm like, well, money, mindset, we can make it a mindset conversation. And then this other person dropped out or just fell off the planet. So I reached out to Kristen, which wasn't really hard because we talk almost every day. I'm like, Kristen, do you want to come play and talk about mindset? And how it evolved from the conversation it was going to be into this one, it always, you want to talk about something that makes me happy is I don't always know why I bring the people I bring together. Sometimes the conversations evolve, but I'm loving all of the common themes through this. I have to say one extra nod to Kristen's influence. So I was at an event in Hollywood yesterday, and they had this food truck, deli truck. Everything looked wonderful, and I sat in line because I'm kibitzing, and I got up to the front, and I could not order anything because my mindset was, it looks really good, but I know if I eat this, I will be so unhappy. So I just walked I'm like, there's a Bristol Farms a couple blocks away. And I walked away from the greasiness and walked towards something because I knew that it would feel better. So going back to it's a habit, it's a practice. The more you do it, whether it's directly or indirectly, it's going to improve your life. And so it does go on that practice realm. Before we get into the mindset tips, I want to ask the panel, do you have like a story of an aha moment when you're like, I need to change my mindset? in order to continue, or what, when you had a personal mindset shifting aha moment?
Well, I mean, I did. I had my 50s were such a rough decade. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. My mom's cancer came back. My dad, who we were all estranged from, it became pretty clear he was having neurological issues. We were struggling financially. I mean, there was just like, the list goes on, and it all happened. It didn't happen overnight. It happened over a decade. And what really happened underneath the surface was my resilience got worn down, so I was solving problem after problem, robbing Peter to pay Paul, to pay a school tuition, handling all the things, and sort of thinking something was going to change somewhere along the line. And after about 10 years, where I had gone from having a very big world with a lot of life, a lot of friends, a lot of stuff, when you're dealing with that, your mindset gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And every day I would wake up and my first thought would be, oh my God, how am I going to get through this day? And when can I go back to bed? And then there was a day after about a decade when I woke up and I'm like, this cannot be what the universe had in mind for me. And I can't control all of these things, right? But I can control what I put in my body and the thoughts in my head. And that was really an aha moment. And that was in my 50s. I'm 67 now. But, you see me drinking the water, hydration was really where I started from the wellness side of things. And then with the mindset side of things, I got rid of all the people that I didn't feel good when I was around them. And that meant some people who they were just talking about how great their life was, and it didn't feel good to me. And I was like, yeah, I can't be, these are surface dwellers. Nobody wants to hear how shitty your life is when you're in a really bad place for a really long time. So I had an aha moment where I was like, you know what? I can do better because no one's coming to save me. So I'm just going to change what I can. And it has been profound.
Detoxing definitely can involve people.
Yeah.
For those,
I want to know if there's anything
listening,
special in your water that's going to help us hydrate.
Electrolytes.
Okay.
Got to get the plain old electrolytes. We got to get that water into our cells. But when you start to feel better physically, and detoxing and lowering inflammation, it does help you mentally as well. So these are not all separate things. Our money, our diet, our gratitude, they're all part of us. We're this ecosystem. And when you start to understand how all the pieces connect and the parts you can control, it is the aha moment. Like, nobody is holding me hostage and making me feel horrible and eat food that makes me feel shitty.
There you go. Okay. And for those who are just listening, Brenda was like applauding loudly in the video. She was just very enthusiastic for Kristen's detoxifying people. Linda, did you have an aha moment where you knew if you didn't change your mindset?
I've had many. I've had a very interesting life. The one that comes to my mind, though, is I was approximately 48, maybe 47, recently divorced, and I had got this job that I thought was going to be like my dream job. But it turned out that I wasn't making enough money. I was going backwards. Newly divorced, I wasn't sure where I would land financially. And it was also not the best environment. And so I was going to going to work with a pit in my stomach every day. And so I knew something really needed to change. And I quit my job. I took out a home equity loan and cashed in a retirement fund and went back to school. And It's scary enough getting divorced and starting over on your own. And when realizing that you're actually going backwards, and then to say, like, you know what? I need to go really far backwards in order to go forward. Otherwise, I'm just going to stay in this struggle for the rest of my life. Like, I need a bold change. I need to make a big move. And I would say that was my biggest mindset change, because I was just like, I need to do this, and talk about like setting goals and reaching for that future. That was huge.
I love that so much. And one of my big driving factors, so I write books on goals. This is Goal Chat. I'm very, very pro goal. I'm all about helping people embrace change by choice or by circumstance. And there are so many people who would much rather be miserable than do it, because they're like, I've been on this path for such a long time. I'm going to keep going. I don't care how miserable I am. More people are likely to do that. And I think part of why I do what I do with these conversations is letting people know that, if you change a course, your life might be better. I mean, these are examples of what is possible, which we're all about inspiration, motivation, but action items, things you could do to work toward that life you deserve and desire. So good on you, Linda. Amazing.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard, we probably have, in Good to Great, Jim Collins talked about the Stockdale paradox. And I didn't know about this when I went through my change, but I think about that a lot. The Stockdale paradox is based on some military person named Stockdale, who was in a situation where he was a prisoner of war, and where he talked about how you had to have the belief that things were going to change, that you were going to get out, but that you couldn't say like, oh, we're going to be out by Christmas, we're going to be out by Easter, or whatever it was, because then you had failures. So you had to have like this unwavering belief that you were going to prevail, and that's your mindset. But at the same time, you had to take on the reality of the situation. And so he talked about how there's a difference between just having the mindset like, oh, it's going to happen by here and it's going to happen by there, but just being like, hey, it's going to happen. I don't know when, and I'm have a positive mindset about it, but I'm also going to acknowledge where I'm at and take on what I have to deal with now. And I think if I had any one story to tell people to look up about mindset, I think that would be it.
I think that timing factor, or rather time. I mean, you could talk to dozens of people that say time doesn't exist. That's why, you write your future bio in the present tense. When you do the affirmations, you do it as if that is already happening. But when you put that time constraint on it, the universe doesn't like it. It makes faces at you. I don't know. I want Brenda's story, but first I want to say hi to Annie, and also Grizely, who's been watching and commenting from Facebook. We've got a lot of LinkedIn Live people today. Thank you, Pamela and Mary Kay and Christy, for all your comments. Oh, and Brenda, side note, Meryl reminded me of someone else I know. So if the person tomorrow doesn't work out, I've got someone else I can talk to about tag for Picturama. Yay! To talk about putting out into the universe with that positive attitude, knowing it will resolve. So what was your mindset aha moment that you want to share?
I'll go with the one that was almost exactly a year ago. And I'll build up to it very quickly. So last year on January 20th, which was like a day to remember, I think for obvious reasons, but for me, it was the day I got laid off from my job of 7 years, where I was the publisher and had acquired hundreds and hundreds of good, like really good books, including Debra Eckerling's 2 books. And I actually know that I did an exceptional job at my job, because that's who I am.
I can vouch for it.
Yeah, that's my mindset. It was like to do the very best I can every single day, like my colleagues here. And so I was surprised, but not shocked. Part of my surprise was that I was still on medical leave, because I had just gotten a knee replacement. Knee replacement surgery is no joke. I'm so glad I did it, but at the time, I was still basically learning how to walk on my new knee and weaning myself off OxyContin. So it was like, I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Didn't see this coming. And I didn't, surprisingly. And after that happened.
And can I add, Brenda? Yeah. I found out that you were laid off the day my book came out.
Oh, wow.
On the 28th.
All right. Yeah.
So there you go.
Days to remember. Continue. Yeah. So, but I woke up at 4 a.m. every morning, like after getting laid off, which I call the hour of anxiety. Your brain is just like, you've got to pay attention to this. And so I was worried about books, including your book, Deb, and so many books. I acquired books that I believed in. I don't acquire a book I don't believe in. And so I believed so hard in these books. I was like, oh no, what's going to happen to them? Who's going to edit them? Like, what about the marketing? Like, I was just like, oh, like, and so after 5 days, I was like, you know what? Even though I'm really mad at the person that laid me off, I'm going to pick up the phone and call them and say, I want to keep my legacy work, the books that saved lives that I had acquired. And so I did. And now, like a year later, like we have like 180 books. But the realization, the aha moment was that getting laid off was the best thing that ever happened to me.
And can I tell the audience that I actually said that to you multiple times after it happened?
But I had to aha my way into it.
You had to aha your way into it. Absolutely. In a year later, finally, 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting is now a book that saves lives. So I'm thrilled that one finally made its way over to your imprint. But but the point being is I saw it for you, as did I'm sure at least a handful or two or dozens of people, but you need to get there. For mindset work to work, it's like with goals. Your goals need to be for you. Or if you're writing a book, you need to be the one who wants to write it. You need to know it in your soul for the mindset stuff to take action. Correct?
I also needed that new knee, especially when I was at the San Francisco Writers Conference, where basically you're walking like a couple of miles every day. And I was like, I'm so glad I got my new knee and my new business.
Imprint, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And also snaps for making the call to say, I created this imprint. I want it. And claiming it.
Yeah.
Also a hugely big deal. And I feel like we're off track, but not off track, because the common threads here, it is your life. You get to claim whatever you want it to be, but you need to claim it and go into the life you deserve and desire with that attitude, with the mindset, in order to create it. So before we gift some goals, what is each of you like your number one mindset tip? Linda?
I think when it comes to money, my number one mindset tip is to pay attention to what you're feeling about money and consciously, intentionally flip it. If you're paying bills and you're feeling stressed out that you're paying bills, be grateful that you have the money to pay the bills. Things like that.
Ooh, okay. Pay attention to how you're feeling about money and flip it. That's great. Okay, Kristen?
I think my biggest tip is how you start the day sets the tone for the day. So when you wake up in the morning, fill your mind with things that make you happy. Thoughts, it could be your cat, it could be your grandchildren, could be somebody you're going to have lunch with, or something you're looking forward to doing, but making sure that first thought in the few seconds after you wake up is something positive, not something negative.
Awesome. And Brenda?
Practice radical self-belief. It sounds like Stockdale, like the prisoner of war, had that. I'm sure that's not the words he would have used, but he had that, and that's how he survived, he and his fellow heroes. And as you now all know, like I come from like, West Virginia, up a holler, like very humble circumstances. But I had a first grade teacher that she somehow thought I was going to be a writer and a publisher. And she even said to me, like on graduation from first grade, she held my tiny little hand and said, "I can't wait to read the books you write and publish." And I was just like, okay. But I think she fostered in me, little me, like some kind of self-belief. And then I built on that from there. And I write affirmations. I'll be at Pete's Coffee, and after I'm halfway through, like the triple latte, I'm writing affirmations on those napkins, like the coffee shop napkins. I have a whole collection of coffee shop affirmations, and so whether it's a journal or like Post-its that you put on your mirror or your laptop or whatever, believe in yourself fully. You can do whatever you want with radical self-belief.
Oh, I love that so much. And I feel like we kind of tiptoed into goal territory, but because these all work as great goals. However, I would still love for you all to gift a specific goal. What is something someone could do today, tomorrow, immediately to readjust and or improve their mindset? Linda, you want to start?
I'm having trouble thinking of one. Okay, so a goal that would help them improve their mindset.
Yes.
I think my one thing that I always tell people to do is to just watch their cash flow, what's coming in and what's going out, and pay attention to it, and make sure that they feel good about everything that's going there. And I think that is something to improve your mindset, because I believe that a lot of people like to avoid money and avoid looking at things, but the clearer you are on what's really happening, the more positive thoughts you're going to have about it, because you're going to understand it and feel better about it to begin with. So that's going to be mine.
I love that. It's doable because it's basically it's clarity breeds positivity, right? You can deal with what you know. You can't deal with what you don't know.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, Brenda, what goal are you gifting?
Well, in the morning when you're doing your intention setting, which I think we've talked about, and most of the people here do that, have your little gratitude adjustment and think of what you're grateful for and the gifts you are, and then how awesome the rest of your day is going to be, and therefore it will be.
Okay, so do your gratitude list in the morning, right?
And it can be verbal.
Oh, you can write it down for verbal?
Yeah, you can just be, I mean, because I actually, like, full disclosure, I do my intentions while I'm still laying down. Like, I open my eyes and then that's the first thing I do is that. And so I'm not going to reach for a pen or a to-do list or anything. I just speak it out loud. And I said I was going to be grateful to be with you guys today, and I am so much so.
I love it when GoalChat life interacts or intersects with real life. So thank you for that, Brenda. And I'm really glad that your book was coming out, because that was the catalyst of changing this conversation. Go team. Kristen, goal?
Well, my goal is to help 1 million women hydrate better. And underhydration is one of the most overlooked and underutilized tools we have to improve how we feel, how we move, how we sleep, how we manage stress. So drinking more water, boosting your water with electrolytes, but looking at water as a resource. Water is life. You can only go for 3 days without water. You can go for like 30 days without food. So water is really tied to everything. If you want to accomplish more things and change your mindset, it really helps if you feel good enough to do it.
and water will help you do that. And okay, so this I'll do one more sidetrack, and then I'm going to ask you all where people can learn more about you. So Kristen and I have been friends for a couple of years, and I actually interviewed her for Women's World about using water to make your life better, to improve your health. It was a hydration for insomnia.
Mhm.
Was the article I wrote.
Right.
And then I saw what she was doing for active grandparenting, and it was, can you believe it was only about a year ago? I interviewed her and I said, "Where's your book?" And a year and a half after that question, our book will be out. So you never know what the things you do today will manifest for you in the future. Wow, this has been so much fun. I hope you all had as much fun as I did. The chat is really hopping with people who adore you all as well. Where can people learn more about you? Let's start with you, Kristen.
At theculinarycure.com. I am on Instagram at Kristen Coffield, and that's where you can see all my active grandparenting things. And I also have activegrandparenting.com. So theculinarycure.com and activegrandparenting.com.
Excellent. And Linda, where can people learn more about you?
They can go to my website at lindagriz.com, LINDAGRIZ.com. And they can find whatever my socials there. I'm mostly active on LinkedIn and Instagram second.
Great. And Brenda?
Go to booksthatsavelives.net. And please do follow our Instagram there as well.
Amazing. And I am at the Deb Method everywhere. And if you go to thedebmethod.com/blog, you'll get to watch the replay, read the recaps, get the goals, get all the inspiration from this and all the previous episodes. And if you want to learn more about me, you can go to thebookproposalexpert.com. And if you need a little bit of inspiration toward your goals, you can grab a copy of 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting, and or your goal guide at your favorite place to buy books. Wow. So much fun, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. What final thought do you want to leave people with today? Brenda, final thought?
Watch yourself when you're saying things like, "Oh, I'm scatterbrained today," or "Oh, I can't remember anything." Just eradicate that kind of language like from your vocabulary, because you actually signal to your brain like to be that way. Like if you say, "Oh, I'm bad with money," then your brain will say, "We're going to be bad with money now." So when you catch it takes us a while to like catch ourselves, but notice when you say things like that negative self-talk, and just delete negative self-talk, and like you will have a profoundly better life as a result.
I love how on theme that was. Amazing. Okay, Linda, final thought?
I love what Brenda just said, but I also want to add, when you are down and you're trying to find your resilience, think back to other times that you were resilient in your life and think about the positive things. It's like, I think Brenda said, one of the things that she thought was one of the worst things that happened in her life, getting laid off, actually ended up being one of the best things. So think back to other times you were resilient, what helped you get through those, and use that mindset to realize that whatever you're struggling with now is a stepping stone for something better.
Nice. Because you made it this far, right? And sometimes we do need those reminders when we get kicked that we got up.
Yeah.
And we will keep getting up. But I think that's the easiest thing to forget, is when you're going through things, that things will be better. So I love that, to remember when things were bad, what helped it get better before, so you can use those tools for cultivating the mindset you need in that moment.
Yeah.
So thank you, Linda. Okay, Kristen, final thought to you.
Control what you can. You have to let the other stuff go. You can't control what other people do and say, and You can really focus on yourself and doing the best you can to keep the oxygen mask on yourself and know that things can change.
That is such a wonderful cap to the conversation. It goes back to, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Or what I say frequently is that goals are hope. I love that 52 Secrets is a book that saves lives because I believe, goals lead to hope. Hope is what keeps you moving forward. And these are especially during challenging times. And even when it's not challenging, we always want our life to be better. That's kind of the game, right? To go and live our best life, to help more people, to spread joy, but also the knowledge that only we know so we can help the people around us. So when you go through life, looking at the positive, remembering what the tools and the skills you need to get there, and to keep our self-talk in that positive realm, anything and everything is not just possible, it is probable. Thank you again, Linda Grizely, Brenda Knight, Kristen Coffield, for joining me. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Debra Eckerling. Again, I'm live every Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And you can subscribe to GoalChat on your favorite place where you listen to podcasts. I am part of this wonderful marketing podcast network. If you need even more inspiration and motivation, you can check out the other shows on the network as well. Okay, I think I hope you all feel as mindsetly energized as I do. Go out there, whatever you want, it is yours. Remember, we know, or you know, and we know you can do it. So go on out there, go for it.
Thank you, Deb.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.